Calling all authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast, hosted by Robert A. Lane, is on the air, featuring everything you need to know about narrating your own audiobook. But it doesn't stop there. From special guests, including authors and professionals from the book industry, to sharing tools and techniques needed to be a confident and compelling narrator. The journey starts now. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
And thank you for joining the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. It's always great to have you along for the ride. And I'm super excited to welcome a very special guest, author and podcaster, and just an all-around incredible human being. And you're going to find out why in just a second. Ksenia Merck, thank you so much for joining the podcast today.
Oh, Robert, thank you so much for having me. And it's just been such a joy to work with you. So I'm glad to share this story.
Now, Ghost Flower is the book that we're going to talk about. Now, there are a couple other books that are in the works that we are going to also talk about. But
that's the case.
We're excited to share that Ghost Flower is now available as an audiobook, which Ksenia did do the narration of it. And a fantastic job, by the way, I do have to say.
Thank you.
Matter of fact, what's really exciting about helping authors like Ksenia produce and do a audiobook narration is that as the narration is going on, you get chapters sent that I get to edit and do what I need to do to create the audiobook. And I get so pulled into the story every time. And it's like, I can't wait to get the next chapter because I want to know what happens. And that really is just a testament of what a great job that you have done, especially Ksenia, on this book. Now, what makes this book and the other books that you're in the process of narrating as an audiobook, what makes this so special is that these books were written by your husband, William Merck. And I know William Merck, your husband, he did pass away. And I think what you are doing to preserve the legacy of your husband and these books by turning them into an audiobook is one of the most commendable things that I've seen. And so I just want to acknowledge that. So, and just, it's just a wonderful thing. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. So what was the inspiration to write this fiction story? And can you just give us a quick little background or maybe a synopsis of what the story is about?
Okay. Well, upon retirement, Bill wrote a couple of books, one on leadership, we'll get into that, and another one on breadcrumbs, finding a philosophy of life. This third book, Ghost Flower, science fiction, time travel, saving humanity in the future. These are huge themes in this book, as well as several romance stories. And you know, what's interesting to me is that Bill wove in these leadership aspects and the philosophy of life into this book. So to me, this book is very powerful because of all of the themes, but it's got action in it too. And the time travel and aliens from another star system. And so it's chock full of a wide variety of themes and scenes throughout. And so it's exciting for me to do the audio version of this as well.
What's really great about this book, and I highly recommend all of you to get a copy of this book, listen to the audiobook, buy a copy of the physical book, and you have a workbook that goes along with it, which is great. What is so great about this story is, like you say, weaving in things that are timely, that we have experienced and that we more than likely will experience. Like there's a pandemic that's mentioned, that's talked about in the book, which is one of the catalysts for part of the time travel aspect of the story. So yeah, so what was great is if you don't mind me sharing a little bit about, or you can
Sure.
jump in as well. So these aliens from another star system end up on Earth. Um, I was back in, I'm trying to remember, was it 2200 BC? I forget what the date was on that.
Thousands of years ago.
Thousands of years ago, and which they weren't supposed to show up on Earth, correct?
Correct.
And so, what makes this an incredible story is here you're transported into somewhere where they actually are stranded on this foreign planet that they weren't even supposed to go to in the first place, and how they were able to assimilate themselves into the earthly culture at that time is pretty fascinating in itself. But I love how in this book, where there's really two time travel stories in a sense, the aliens coming to Earth, and then at the same time, present day, that the world is going through this horrible pandemic, and it's discovered that there was a plant that was grown or really brought from the aliens that may have some healing properties to be able to combat this pandemic. So I'm probably not describing it as well as you can describe it. So can you give a little more detail about why or how the characters figure out about going back in time and searching for this plant, which is called ghost flower?
Yes. So there is a pandemic that is occurring in the future in 2035, and this team of scientists is meeting and really looking at what their options are. And they bring in different people into the discussion, and in conversation, they're hearing about this flower from centuries ago that had healing properties. So the team ends up embarking on time travel to go back to 1585 to meet with a monk to plant clues for the future persons to find that will give them these healing properties, these codes, so that they can solve the pandemic with new vaccines. So it really is about time travel to save humanity in the future. And to me, what's important in the journal is that we bring up some of those philosophical and spiritual questions that flare up, that are a part of the themes of the book. And would you do time travel to save humanity in the future? Would you do that, knowing that you could not come back to the present day? That is
Yeah.
a huge decision. And so you're right, there are two different time travels here, or interesting time travels, that this team from the future is going back to the past to discover or rediscover a flower with healing properties that was brought by aliens centuries before, who mislanded here, who landed here by mistake. But when that flower hit here, it developed these healing properties. And so that was an unintended consequence of that first alien visit, but something that would help humanity in the future. So it's really got a lot of interesting facets.
Absolutely. And, I think you hit on a very important point. Would you really make the decision living in modern times to go back to, ancient times in a sense, medieval times, uh,
Medieval.
medieval times to learn how to live without all the technology, all the things that we take it, for granted nowadays, modern, to go back in time and to do that. But yeah, I tell you, it's incredible that there was a handful of people who actually did to help humanity. And the other thing that's really uh, that you keep asking questions in your mind is like, oh, okay, so they're going to go back in time and they're going to leave clues for people in 2035 to discover, to find, like you say, the codes that are going to be left for them to create a vaccine or something to be able to combat this pandemic. And it's interesting because you know, when you think of time travel, you're like, okay, they're going back, but wouldn't those clues be there? But no, they wouldn't be there because they didn't leave the clues yet. So
Right.
you know, so like there's this whole thing that you can drive yourself crazy. But the way that the book is laid out and the way that it's written, it actually does make sense because, you know, as I was working on the audiobook, I was asking these questions to myself, thinking, oh, wait, well, how do they, you know, this and that, and how does that tie in, or does that work, or, you know, it's like you're going through that, but it was a really an exciting story, and like you say, there is a lot of adventure. There's romance, there's you know, battles, there's, you know, all sorts of adventure. That
Pirates, there's Shakespeare, there's, you know, Native Americans, there's just a variety of different persons that they encounter on this journey.
What's really another thing that's fascinating is about weaving in actual history as part of the storyline, about talking about medieval times, talking about, like you mentioned, about Shakespeare. It is around in that time frame, you know, and to bring in some of these historical facts that we may know of. But I love how the book presents almost kind of a, like a what if you did meet Shakespeare, what if you did do these things, you know, that are mentioned in the book. It's pretty fascinating, and it keeps to me, it kept my interest throughout the entire book. And I know that anybody who listens to your narration for the audiobook or reads the book itself, they're going to be thoroughly entertained.
Well, I certainly, I think they will. I think they will because I'm definitely excited about this project, about this book. I think Bill is just genius. Of course, I'm biased, but I can be. But the more, you know, just recording it, you know, every time I read it, and now this recording, just I can see where he planted all of these things so specifically so that it would come together. And I just think it's really a great story, but to me, it's inspirational about, you know, what is our purpose, and would you save humanity? And each of the persons on this journey discovered a new purpose in their life. And I think that's fascinating.
Absolutely. And the one thing that you mentioned as this being the third book that Bill had written, the first two books are nonfiction. This one is fiction. Well, first of all, as a fiction book, it's fantastic, and you did the narration of it. And just for other authors, you don't always need to have you know, a million dialects and voiceover this and that and the other, you know, to create characters. The most important factor of creating an awesome audiobook is the content and to be able to tell the story. Ksenia, you did a fantastic job telling the story. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you know, I am sitting here at Bill's desk, where he wrote a great deal of this story. He also wrote it in Arizona, not too far from you. And so I've got his picture right here. I believe he was here with me every step of the way. I think he's here right now, and he's excited about this audio recording and the other ones that we're working on together as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, you mentioned or you talked about these other two books that Bill had written before he wrote Ghost Flower, about leadership and how he's taken these concepts that he's talked about in those nonfiction books and applied them to Ghost Flower, to the stories in Ghost Flower. And you know, the more you know, as I'm working on you know, the next book that we're doing for the audiobook, you know, so you want to be a leader, which is there's so much great information and stories that are shared in this, and I see the correlation,
Yes,
of how that was applied into the fictional story of Ghost Flower, and that's pretty amazing.
Yes, it is. Bill was a great storyteller, and so I'm trying to keep on with that with Merck 2 Press and everything that we do, because this is so important about not only respecting and honoring his legacy, which is so very important to me, but to help people. And I believe that that really is our mission for Merck 2 Press. So you'll be seeing that and other things that come out of our shop.
And so let's just touch on the other two books. Now we have the one we're working on currently. You and I is the So You Want to Be a Leader. So now, can you talk a little bit about the other book and then this one, and then maybe uh, bring up a couple of concepts that are utilized in Ghost Flower?
Well, so You Want to Be a Leader, Secrets of a Lifetime of Success is a great book about what not, a lot of it is what not to do as a leader.
Yeah.
And Bill gives his insights and his firsthand stories, and a lot of those I was with him or knowing of those stories, as they were occurring. And so I will tell you that for me, it's just so uncanny that I've recorded that. And just in the 2 weeks later, I was using some of those same concepts in what I was doing in my work life. But the book chock full of stories about leadership examples, and you'll see that a big part of it is integrity and character. And that is a theme that is woven through Ghost Flower. The integrity and character of the captain is huge because he, in many situations with, um, adversarial conditions, war type situations, battle, he always acted in a statesman-like fashion and held his honor and integrity. And so these concepts are woven into Ghost Flower with the characters and how they treat each other, how they all work as a team. And each team member is a leader in their own right, but they really act as a team. And Bill talks about that in the leader book. So these to me are some of the themes that are woven into Ghost Flower and how this team does this job together to plant the clues that save the future.
And what about Breadcrumbs?
Breadcrumbs is a wonderful book too, because as you know already, that Bill is a wonderful storyteller, and he had so many stories from his childhood. So Breadcrumbs, Finding a Philosophy of Life, has over 100 stories, um, many of them from Bill growing up in South Georgia, stories that influenced his life early on. But what he did was he took those stories, and certainly they were ingrained in him, and a lot of uh, principles and character from his grandparents. But he also challenged some things as he gained more experiences away from South Georgia, and he challenged things and developed his own philosophy of life, building on those principles, but he really challenged and found his own way. So the purpose of that book is to really inspire you, the reader, to figure out your philosophy of life. What influenced you? What did you challenge in your life? And how has that shaped the person that you are today? So that's book two. And you can see where these challenging situations in Ghost Flower shaped these people into something different than when they started their journey. And so it is about the journey in Ghost Flower. And to me, there's so many themes that Bill has woven through from these first two books. Those are a couple of examples.
Yeah, I think that the characters in Ghost Flower had to almost redefine their calling,
Yes.
uh, because now they are. It's like being uprooted and put in somewhere, that is foreign. It's a whole different world. Time
Mm-hmm.
travel. You're going back in time. Maybe even if you went
Mm-hmm.
into the future, you're putting yourself in a situation that you got to figure it out. You got to find out, how do I make this work? How can I survive
Mm-hmm.
in this new environment? And how can
Mm-hmm.
I be productive in this new environment? And that does come down to redefining your calling, I think.
Yes. Yes, it does. And the commitment to it.
Yeah.
The commitment to it. And so this is, there's so many aspects here and principles that I think it's just interesting for the reader to dive into, and really take some moments to think about it. And that's the purpose of the journal, to go into the journal. And it certainly got all of the sketches in the journal. Maybe it's more obvious how the sketches relate to each other. But it ties back to the chapters in the book with philosophical and spiritual questions that make you just want to think a little bit about some of these deep topics.
Yeah, it's really great. If you pick up this book, you got to get the journal as well. And I love that. It's not very often that you get a book where it has some really valuable supplemental material that goes along with it, especially for a fictional story. That's really great. And the questions that you ask really get you to think. Really
Mm-hmm.
get you to think.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a great quality to have in a story, because you not only do you want to be entertained, but if it gets you to think, maybe gets you to change the way you approach things, or maybe change the way you think
Mm-hmm.
things to be better at
Yes.
whatever you're doing in your life. You can still apply it. You can apply the concepts in this very entertaining story of Ghost Flower, but you can apply those concepts to your life and live a better life. And I think
Yes.
that's one of the strongest points from this book.
Yes. I agree with you 100%. I think it really does, for me, it makes you think about how the team was treating each other, how they really worked together to try to do something to benefit people in the future. And how do we treat each other, as we're working on a project? Are we appreciative of what everybody is doing? Are we all pulling together? Do we all have the same mission? Do we all understand it? Because it takes that, and that team had to come together quickly and be on top of all of those points, really, to just go. And there's a lot to it that came together very well.
Yeah, so I highly recommend that all of you pick up this book, Ghost Flower. Get the audiobook version. Listen to Ksenia tell the story. I love it because you get to sit there and it's story time. It's story time. But you're going to get adventure. You're going to get time travel. You're going to get relationships. These aliens mistakenly land on Earth many millennia ago, and and now there are alien human hybrids. By an alien mating with an earthling. And how does that transpire? What traits did these people still have from the alien DNA, or did they not have it? You're going to have to read the story, and you're going to have to listen to the story to find out.
That's right. Listen to the story.
Listen to the story. Now, for people to get in touch with you, I know you have a website that talks about, of course, Ghost Flower and the other books that Bill has written. And so the website is Merck to Press, right? MERCKII PRESS press.com. Merck.
Yes.
Well, we say two because we use the I's for two. So, but it's not the number two, just it's two letters, two I's. So make sure you don't go to the wrong thing. But you know what? You can also do a Google search, pull up Ghost Flower, pull up William F. Merck. All that's going to come up, and you will definitely find Ghost Flower and Breadcrumbs, and So You Want to Be a Leader, all terrific books. And we're getting close to finishing up the So You Want to Be a Leader book. So that's going to be out on audiobook pretty soon. Pretty soon, which is exciting. So again, you have that to look forward to. Definitely pick up Ghost Flower. It's a great story. It's an entertaining story. If you love science fiction, and if you love a story about humanity, there's still good in this world. All right, there still is.
Yes, there is, and I think we need to embrace that good. And Robert, I really want to thank you for being just such a gem to work with on this project, and because of that, that's why I want to keep on with you and do the leader book, the breadcrumbs book, and who knows, maybe even the book that I'm starting to write on now. So
right on.
It's been a great experience, and I really appreciate your support of us on this project.
It's my pleasure. It's been wonderful helping you create these audiobooks, and you're right. Bill is a great writer and a great storyteller. So
Yes.
Anybody who picks up any of the books are going to be thoroughly entertained. But again, Ksenia, thank you so much for joining me for the podcast. Thank you for sharing about Ghost Flower, about Bill, and what an incredible writer that he was, and these great books that are out there. And again, much accommodation. I mean, I have so much. It's all in the heart of what you're doing.
It is. It's in my heart,
Yeah.
and a big part of my purpose going forward. And so, thank you.
You're very welcome. Again, go to Merck2 Press, MERCKIIPRESS.com, Merck2Press.com. Pick up your copy of Ghost Flower. You're going to love it. Thank you, Ksenia, for being a guest on the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I do appreciate that so much. And we're going to bring you back once you get the next audiobook out there. You're going to be on again because we can talk more about So You Want to Be a Leader, and about breadcrumbs, and the new book. We got to get that new book.
Yes.
All right. So thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate you. We're here every week at this time. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane. We'll talk to you next week. Take care, my friends.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode. And remember, only you can narrate your story the way it's meant to be heard.